Hello and welcome to Cuesta Sports Monthly, an in-depth look at Cuesta athletics. I'm Peter Schuler, and on this month's show, we will visit with track and field, softball, and joining us for the interview is Cuesta softball coach Janelle Guadagno. Right now on Cuesta Sports Monthly, I am joined by Cuesta track and field athletes Roxanne Nolan and Evan Stork. So welcome, Roxanne and Evan, to Cuesta Sports Monthly.
Thanks for having us.
Season's coming along right now, coming up to Western State Conference prelims, something you guys have both been through, and then hopefully regionals and state. You have a month and a half of championship events. Mm-hmm. So kind of talk to me about, you've been through this now. How do you plan for 6 weeks of championship level competition?
Well, it's really getting down to the nitty gritty, trying to maintain your academics and your sports is super hard. It's getting to that time where you're getting more work than you have time for, but as long as you keep coming out and keep doing everything, the next 6 weeks will hopefully go okay.
It's just kind of taking it step by step, kind of maintaining.
One day at a time.
That's
all you can do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, last year you were one of the state leaders in pole vault. Again, this year by a foot, you're leading the entire state.
Really?
What's that type of?
I didn't know that.
Yes, it's by a full foot now.
Wow.
What's some of the things when you have that kind of advantage over the competition? What are some of the things that you use mentally to keep yourself focused and keep going and pushing yourself farther?
Well, big difference for me for last year is I've tried to kind of relax more and not be so hard on myself and try to really focus on, I love track. I'm out here because I have fun. Yeah, it's a huge chunk out of my day and I have a lot of other stuff I could be doing, but this is what I need to stay sane. So, that extra foot, that's great, but I'm going to keep trying for higher because that's all I can do.
Now, Evan, you took a year off from track. You came out your second year out of high school, right? You graduated in 2016?
I graduated 2016, and I threw here at Cuesta last year as well.
Okay, that's right. That's 2017. Sorry. My math is bad. So one of the things, you've really found a home in the hammer. Is that something you knew you liked, or is that a happy accident?
Out of high school, I knew that I really wanted to do it, partly because of Vivian Devaney actually throwing hammer at one of our slow throwdowns back in high school. I saw it and recorded a video, and I was like, wow, that looks like a lot of fun. Didn't really pick up a hammer until that summer after high school, but ever since last year, I've just fallen in love with it, and just it's my bread and butter.
So it's something you actually, it wasn't when you were doing all four events, but you said, that's the one I like, I want to do that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I found my niche. I found somewhere where I can apply the power that I have consistently, and I've just been improving ever since.
Now, I understand you really enjoy the weight room.
I do, yeah. I love
and
lifting
grunting
heavy
does
things.
give you extra power and all those things.
Oh, yeah.
But one of the things is, so when you think of shot put, that's a pure power position. There seems to be more finesse in the hammer. I think a lot of people are kind of intimidated by it. But what was the thing that really just, it's power and finesse? Is that something that drew you to it, or?
Yeah, I think that power and finesse balance is what draws a lot of people to throwing in general, because you don't really think about it sitting at home watching the Olympics like, oh, these guys are just hucking heavy things around, but really it's repetition and repetition and repetition, just millions, hundreds of thousands of reps that these people are going through to get every minute little thing correct in their form that makes the difference of inches or feet. It all matters.
Now, right now you're doing very well in the hammer. You're top four in state right now, and you're kind of probably your next best event would probably be discus, or do you feel like the shot put or javelin? What's your next favorite right there? I think you're higher ranked in the discus.
I'd say discus just because I'm a little bit better at it. Recently, in like the last couple of practices, I've found a little trick with shot put, so I'm a little more upbeat when it comes to that. But discus probably, just because it's just as phonetic and it's just as fun as hammer.
It's in the same ring too. That's kind of a same place you do hammer is discus.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
rather than the
minus
javelin.
minus inserts. Yeah.
Right. Now, you're other than a couple of times when I know they've dragged you out to the track, you're strictly pole vault. So
Yeah.
what was the thing that brought you? What was the thing about pole vault that really interested you in the first place?
I honestly was not interested at all in pole vault for a really long time.
You didn't want to throw yourself
Oh my
10
God,
feet up in the air?
it's scary. Only crazy people do that.
There's a
Yeah.
certain amount of insanity that you have to have.
It's true. In high school, I came out to the track just because obviously I didn't want to do PE, and that's a big thing in high school. You don't want to do PE, so the next easiest thing is track, supposedly. And I tried pole vault out my sophomore year, and I was just terrible at it because no one's good at pole vault when they start. It's
I would imagine so.
just flinging yourself over a bar. It looks ridiculous. But I kind of took a little break, and I started high jumping, and I was actually okay at that, but they seemed like they had more fun over at pole vault, and they had more snacks too. So I went back, and over the course of the next 2 years, I had some really great role models in my high school, girls who've moved on to UCSB, and really learned to love it, had a great coach, and I've stuck with it ever since.
I know at our track meets we have Jan comes out there and he always makes it a party. But
Jan.
that's one of the things you don't see the throwers sitting around after the competition and say, I want to throw the shot put a little bit more. But everybody in pole vault seems to run from the beginning to the end of the meet. Everybody just sits out there and keeps jumping.
Mm-hmm.
So,
It's definitely a slow one.
so one of the things about track is it's an individual sport, but it's also a team, and it's scored as a team and all those things. So one of the things as sophomores coming in, did you have to take any leadership with the women's team to help them out as they came in?
We've had some great leadership this year. Kirsten Purcell, who runs the 800, is doing great as our one of our captains, and Evan is for the men's team. I've kind of stepped out a little bit in my captain roles, have taken on some more school leadership things, trying to keep my grades up.
Okay, and this is a couple of last questions, but Evan, as a thrower and a big fan of Game of Thrones, what event would best allow you to survive in Wisteria?
It would definitely be javelin, even though it's my least favorite because it hurts. But something about chucking a spear is just Viking. It's just awesome. But I think it would also prove to be the best weapon. I don't think spinning around with a metal ball would do much in a battle, I guess.
Yeah, maybe it's flaming with spikes or something like that. And how about those chickens? Tell me about your chickens.
I have 6 chickens, and I love them, and they're so fun to watch. And that is another thing in my life that just keeps me sane. Watch my chickens.
All right, thank you, Evan and Roxanne. Thank you for joining us here with Evan Stork and Roxanne Nolan here on Cuesta Sports Monthly. When we come back, it's softball on Cuesta Sports Monthly. I'm Peter Schuler. We'll be back in a moment.
Did some digging there.
This program is produced by Cuesta Broadcasting. Start your radio, TV, and film career at Cuesta College.
We're back on Cuesta Sports Monthly and back on the diamond with Cuesta softball players Sydney Doherty and Dana Manser. Welcome to Cuesta Sports Monthly, Sydney, Dana. Season's almost wrapping up right now. Like we said a little bit before the break, you guys have had a lot of games on Tuesdays and Thursdays this year. Coming down to the final week right now. What's your biggest takeaway from the season so far as your sophomore year, Dana?
Biggest takeaway, I'd say definitely like the teammates and the friends I've made, like coming in with this team. It's been a really fun season, and like having Coach come out, like it was a really fun season. Definitely.
Now, you're one of the 2 sophomores on the team. What was did you feel like you had to take a different role this season?
Slightly, yeah, just because of our small numbers, it took a lot to kind of like get us going. We started out the season with only 6, so I was at the beginning of the season I was actually the only returner, so that was a little different.
Right, Taylor's coming back out of volleyball, so
Exactly,
it's a little
yeah.
bit tough right there.
She didn't come in until January. So
And then we picked up a third sophomore. Was Sydney coming out from San Diego, transferred from San Diego Canyon College. So what brought you up here to San Luis Obispo?
My parents decided to move out to Arizona, and my brother plays baseball for Cal Poly right now. So they're like, you can come to Arizona, or you can go up to Cuesta and complete your associates up there. And I was like, well, yeah, of course, I'll go up to SLO. It's awesome up here. So
No, you consider yourself kind of like you enjoy the beach, so that was kind of
Yeah,
an easy choice for you.
absolutely,
Was
yeah.
not
I
to
mean,
go-
the weather was a huge change. It was really hard for me. It took a while. Me and Coach are both from Southern California, so both of us coming up here, we're like, it's cold up here. Like,
So
got to adjust a little
yeah,
bit.
coming from Southern California, tell me how awesome Foothill High School is.
Oh, it's great. Great place. Great place to be. Awesome alumni. Good place. Orange County's awesome.
Now, what was the biggest change for you this year? I mean, were on a great team last year, a playoff team last year. This year, you're coming in, and Cuesta's kind of in a transition, brand new coach. You're a big part of solidifying that group. But what was that? Did you feel you had to take up a certain role coming in?
Yeah, with Dana and Taylor as well, we were kind of we're the only people to be returning to live pitching from a collegiate level, and the rest of the girls either hadn't played in a few years or hadn't seen any pitching since last spring when they played in high school. So transitioning from high school to college, pitching especially is just a little different. So I think I kind of took the role of like encouraging and pushing the younger ones to be more comfortable and like just keep playing the way they've always played their whole lives.
Now you kind of felt coming in. I mean, Dana knew as a sophomore that she was going to be the lone veteran, but you coming in even from a different program, really felt that you needed to take a leadership role right away.
Yeah, it was great. It was awesome. Easy transition. Great girls.
Now, one of the things you talked about the pitching, something both of you guys ended up doing this year was becoming pitchers. Had you pitched before?
I used to pitch a lot growing up, pitching lessons. My parents always kind of pushed me to pitch because, at a young level, like, the competition isn't great, so you kind of want to get it in every play you can, and that's either pitching or catching. So, yeah, I pitched a lot until I was about 13 or 14. Then I hadn't pitched since then, but it wasn't too hard. Just shaking some rust off.
Now, how about you, Dana? This is on the wish list.
Pretty much.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, that was the one position I never really played. Growing up, that was the one position my parents didn't want me to play. Partly, like, it's dangerous and being so close to, like, the batter and stuff, and also, like, just the toll it kind of has on your body. I don't really like all the attention on me all the time. It's a lot of pressure.
That's pretty close, too.
Yeah.
I imagine that hits coming back. It's just,
Oh yeah.
I had two pitchers growing up that had to get face surgery because having a line drive hit back at them. And that's the one thing I was thinking about on the mound. Definitely, it's kind of made me nervous.
Terrifying.
Yeah,
It's terrifying.
now, you ended up in your career playing all 9 positions.
Every position.
So, I mean, most of it was a catcher, maybe a little third base, and a lot of outfield.
Mm-hmm.
What was the position? What if somebody said, Dana, what's your position? What would you say?
Probably catcher, just because it's my favorite position. But growing up, I more played the corners, definitely. But I like catching's my favorite, definitely.
Is it just because you're involved with every pitch, or?
Yeah, you're very involved. Softball and baseball are very slow sports, people would say. You have to like stay engaged, but like when you're behind the plate or on the mound, you're always touching the ball. You just get a little bit more out of it, I think. And, yeah,
Okay.
it's a lot of fun.
But now, how about you? You ended up playing a little bit of infield, but mostly in the outfield this year.
Yeah, I'm a natural infielder. I've only played shortstop and second my whole life until at San Diego last year. They had a returning second baseman who was a Gold Glove All-American, and then they had a shortstop who came in who was strictly shortstop, and they're like, all right, if you want to play, you have to play outfield. And I had never played outfield before, and I was like, all right, I can do that. And I mean, the coaches there were strict. Two of them were strictly outfield coaches, so they helped me a lot, and it was really, really easy transition after getting so much help and coming up here. I felt like outfield was my primary position.
So you came in and said, I'm an outfielder now.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things I joked around with your coach, and we were talking about who we'd have on the show, and I said, well, I want thunder and lightning. So so a little bit about your game. I mean, you've had a tremendous season this year. You're right now you're among the state leaders in batting average and just short of our school record, which is nice. You've already set the school record for steals in a season.
Yeah.
Now, have you always been a base stealer? Is that your style, or is this?
Yeah, last year I should have had it, but a girl somehow had 5 stolen bases in a game and pushed over me by 1 stolen base and got the golden cleat for the state last year. So I was down by 1 steal, but that's okay.
Now you broke the record pretty quick. I mean, you jumped out early on the stolen bases, but you kind of tailed off at the season. What was happening with there?
Towards the end of the season, I kind of made a career choice, path change, and I decided not to play softball after this. So it was just kind of more of a enjoy the game and relax. Not as much urgency as I did the beginning of the year, but I'm still having a great time and having fun, and I love it. Yeah.
So you kind of just decided next year going to be more academic.
Yeah.
And you're looking at first. You said you were looking at going on your questionnaires, going to St. Mary's, West Coast Conference School, maybe Poly. Has that changed?
Yeah, I'm actually not going to any NC, I guess, D1 school at all. I'm going to acupuncture school as of next year, so starting something completely different.
Well, good luck with that. Now, Dana, you're finishing up at Poly next year, and then
Yeah, in the spring.
And then what happens with you?
It kind of depends. It's still up in the air. I have some time to decide. I'm looking at maybe into some chiropractic programs, or going back and getting my master's in kinesiology. So one of the two.
Both of you kind of going into the medical field right away.
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, best of luck the rest of the way the season through, and good luck next year for
Thank
both acupuncture and chiropractic.
Thank you.
So that does it for softball here on Cuesta Sports Monthly. We'd like to thank Sydney Doherty and Dana Menser for joining us here. And when we come back, we'll have their coach, Janelle Guadagno, give a season wrap-up of her first season at Cuesta College.
Cuesta.edu. Television, radio, broadcast, communications. Explore the world of digital communication and tap into your creative genius. Television, radio, broadcast, communications.
This is your boy, the DUI, and you're listening to KGUR.org.
Your digital future is at Cuesta College right now. Log on to Cuesta.edu now for enrollment dates and class information.
Don't get the boom in the shot. Blown it, bro.
Cuesta.edu.
Welcome back to Cuesta Sports Monthly. I'm your host, Peter Schuler, and I am joined by Cuesta softball coach Janelle Guadagno to talk about her first season in SLO. Welcome to back to Cuesta Sports Monthly, Janelle.
Yes, thank you.
So, what's the best thing about this season?
We improved. We got better every single day. I have a great group of kids, and they made it fun.
Now, the team was kind of in playoff contention for a while there at the end. Some injuries, but we talked about a little bit earlier with Sydney and Dana that the injuries were a factor in a smaller team. So what was some of the things that helped and hurt you guys this year?
I think it helped that everyone got a chance to play. They got an opportunity. Everyone felt like they were a contributor. Since we did have such low numbers, they knew that they had a certain job that they needed to do to help the team. So I think that was one thing that helped us. It brought us a lot closer together, the team together. It obviously hurt us. We had a point where we had 2 girls go out down with back injuries, and then I had to go find a volleyball player to come stand out in right field. So the injuries definitely killed us, and then Haley going down at the end of the year, tearing her UCL was huge, you know.
But one of the things she did do is go out with a flourish. Her last at bat was a walk-off grand slam.
Yeah, so she tears her UCL in her elbow, and we ask her if she can just hit. She comes and then hits a walk-off grand slam. Like, what a good way to end your season, I guess, right? You can't beat that.
So, I mean, so this year is obviously a great season overall. I mean, you came in late in the recruiting season, but you're able to put together a team, and a competitive team at that, with a lot of help from your two sophomores up there, Thunder and Lightning. But what are some things you've learned about San Luis Obispo softball around here, and what are the things you're hoping to bring back next season after?
I've learned that there's a very small recruiting area, so just getting out to the local high schools and showing my face, introducing myself, and getting in with the local travel ball as well. It's not as big of a pulling area as I'm used to. We talked about that last time. Just a little smaller area. That's kind of been a challenge, but definitely something we can work with.
Now, this is your first time as a head coach at the collegiate level. So what are some of the things what did you just learn as a coach coming in here? And, you know, I mean, it's a trial by fire a little bit. But.
Yeah, definitely. I should have brought my notebook with all my notes of the things I've learned this year. I mean, I could go on about anything from talking to players, player management, kind of, we have this ongoing joke, like diffusing fires that need to happen, and just learning to do different things in my coaching style, trying to incorporate different things with the players that we had. Definitely learning how to work with the players that we had and trying to make them the best that they could be and be a contributor.
So if you'd walked in with a state champion level team, you wouldn't have learned as much as a coach. So this is actually probably the best thing for you.
Oh, this is probably the best thing that's probably ever going to happen to me as far as learning and trying to figure things out and do things. And yeah, learned a lot this year.
All of this year's players are going to be part of a story as you go.
Absolutely.
But we had this in our first year type thing. Is that?
Oh, absolutely. I have a whole book of stories that I could just tell you about this year.
Well, what are some of the things for you coming like Sydney said last segment about coming from Southern California? What were some of the big challenges for you coming to a more rural area like San Luis Obispo, coming from Cerritos?
I just didn't like that it was so cold and that it rained here so much. I had no idea like it was like that. I probably should have did a little bit more research, but I love it here. It's just a different feel. Things are a little bit slower. It's not as fast paced. It's great. I do love it here. Just the weather is it's been a change. Like Sid said, we joked about it all the time. We're like, oh my gosh, it's so cold, but it's nice. It's beautiful here. I love it.
Now we don't always get that much rain. We did have a long drought, but this is maybe just for you this year, and you guys have really learned how to take the tarps on and off the softball field, right?
To do it in record time with 10 people.
So coming to Cuesta from a larger school like Cerritos College, and you know, down there, what was the thing you liked most about Cuesta, and what kind of shocked you about Cuesta?
Well, I really liked everything. I like that it is a small school, and faculty, staff, students are a little bit more connected, especially in with the athletes. I do enjoy like the smaller setting, but it was kind of like a culture shock too to see that when I go into my lecture class, I only have 12 or 14 when there's usually like 50, 60 kids in a class. So that was kind of a culture shock. And
where's your auditorium?
Yeah, and you know, different. Back home was a little bit more diverse across the campus with students and faculty, and I did kind of find that to be a little culture shock here.
A little bit, yeah, a little bit. We're still kind of a small town. What were the things that you this year that you will do the same, and what are some of the things that you think you're really going to change around or took out of your book this year?
I definitely had to taper down my coaching style and be a little like tone it down. You only have 10 players. You need them all.
Couldn't run them into the ground this year?
Yeah, I couldn't run them into the ground this year. So definitely I've been on the recruiting. We talked about this last time. I've had athletes coming in from all over. Just definitely improve my numbers and obviously getting more pitchers in and being able to do more live and more game-like things. A lot of stuff we weren't able to practice because we only had 9 players. So being able to get more bodies in, be able to do more game situations, more scrimmages.
Now, how'd you do with the travel this year?
Oh, the travel was interesting. It was nice when we got a bus until we got one bus that didn't have a heater and it was like 30 degrees. But it was different. A lot of traveling. I can only imagine how tired the athletes were because I was exhausted. Leaving at 7 in the morning, getting back at 10 at night is definitely different than having like a 4-hour trip from the time you leave your player game and you're back. So it's different. It's definitely different. But the girls did a great job handling it.
Now, I'm not trying to encourage any stalkers or anything like that, but I'm just kind of curious. Last time you were kind of getting your feet wet around here, but I want to see where you ended up living in Slow and how you're adjusting to the social life a little bit down there.
I live in Slow, outside of downtown. Yeah, it's great. I love it here. I love the small town. I love just hanging out, being able to go to the beach. I love that there's hiking trails. I can get up and go on a different hike every single day. I love everything about the outdoors here. It's nice. You don't have to, you just go into your backyard. It's not like you're got to hop in the car and travel. So it's nice. I really like it here. It's a good change. It's a great move for me, and I'm really happy I'm here.
When things are five miles away, they're like 5 minutes away rather than 20 or 30.
Yes, the traffic here there's none. So it's great. My commute is my commute. It doesn't take me 30 minutes to go. 10 minutes.
So now you're into Slow, and now you're ready to start recruiting. What are some of the things you're telling the kids, and why are they coming to play for you? What's your recruiting pitch for this?
My recruiting pitch, I just give them all, tell them all the tools that we have as far as priority registration, all of our tutoring, all the resources that we have for them, athletic counselors. Just use the education point as a sell and let them know that we have schools, we can get you transferred and we can get you moved on. I have schools emailing me all the time about Sydney and Dana, and I have to tell them, unfortunately, they're not going to continue to play anymore. But hey, I have a whole group of freshmen that you could take a look at, and you'll be able to pick and choose from, and hopefully our programs will be able to work together in the future. So I think letting those incoming freshmen know that there are connections being made to Cuesta College and being able to get them on and moved out, get their education, and hopefully getting their school paid for.
All right. Well, good luck on your sophomore season coming up.
Thank you.
And that concludes today's edition of Cuesta Sports Monthly. We'd like to thank Evan Stork, Roxanne Nolan, Sydney Doherty, and Dana Manser, and of course, Coach Janelle Guadagno for joining us. And thank you for joining me here at Cuesta College for Cuesta Sports Monthly. Cuesta Sports Monthly is a monthly show, and this is our final episode for this year. Coming up next is going to be the Cuesta Athlete of the Year Luncheon. Remember to stay up to date on Cuesta Athletics. Check the Cuesta Athletic website for more information of all Cuesta Athletic teams. The show produced at Cuesta College by Cuesta College Film, Television, and Electronic Media Department as part of the Cuesta TV project. I'm Peter Schuler, and for all of us here at Cuesta, thanks for watching, and thank you for your support of Cuesta Athletics.